I was a kid, filled with drugs. I got shocked when I hesitated. Narcotics flooded my veins when I attacked.
They actually rewarded you for attacking.
I still get warm feelings during a fight.
The three major players besides humans are the Asari, the Solarians, and the Turians. The Turians and humans have a bit of history from what's called the First Contact War, where the Turians discovered humans activating a mass relay without permission and attacked them and conquered one of our worlds. The issue with the Council being allowed to die hasn't improved relations any. Turian society prides discipline and service, so they tend to prefer order. But obviously that's a generalization. Individuals in any society will often deviate from the norm. Shepard's on Omega for a third addition to her team, a Turian named Archangel who's a vigilante. He and his team have caused so much trouble that the local merc groups have banded together to take him down, and are even hiring freelancers to assist, even though it's down to only Archangel now. Anyone who can hold off that many trained mercenaries is going to be an asset, so Shepard and her squad poses freelancers to get inside so they can get him out alive. It was either that or washerwomen, and no one brought the clothes for that. Two of the groups are the Blue Suns and the Blood Pack. The final group is Eclipse, primarily Solarian and Asari, specializing in tech and biotic abilities. I'll get to what the hell biotic means a little later. The Blue Suns are essentially in charge of handling things, and with Zaid's history with them, there's a bit of recognition, though they are somewhat elusive on the topic.
Gent, talk to these guys. Answer whatever questions they have. Good to see you. And who knows, maybe you'll solve my problem for me.
Anything's possible.
Like a shot in the back, Blue Sun's Pisa. This guy's just ornery because part of his head is transparent.
What's Turek gonna do if the infiltration team fails?
To start, he'll shoot any freelancers that are still alive.
Oh, I really wish the recruiter would have mentioned that part of the contract. That fine print's a bitch. Ordered to go check in with Sergeant Kathka, Shepard finds him repairing a gunship that'll be used to take out Archangel, so that's the problem. You know, they say those things can lead to an early grave, Kathka. And being a Batarian standing in the way of her mission, well, Shiva's choices are obvious.
You're working too hard.
Getting inside with the freelancers proves easy, and taking them out simple. That's when Archangel's revealed to be Shepard's old crew member, Garrus. Garrus always took the Turian ideals more in the direction of universal justice, even if it meant questioning or flat-out disobeying orders, something Turians normally would never do. Now he's thrown away his career to become a vigilante, but listening to him, there's more than just exhaustion from constant fighting weighing him down. Garrus just lost his entire team to those mercs. Probably the only thing keeping him going is that he's not the given-up type, but even the sight of someone he thought dead does little to affect him. His thoughts are on the problem.
My feelings got in the way of my better judgment. It's a long story. I'll make you a deal. You get me out of here alive, and I'll tell you the whole damn thing.
Bunkering down, the mercs are eventually dealt with, but Garrus is shot by the gunship. Luckily they can save him and patch him up. We don't have 2 years to raise him from the dead. He's a little banged up, but that's okay. The cyborg look is in this season.
That's why I'm glad you're here, Garrus. If I'm walking into hell, I want someone I trust at my side.
You realize this plan has me walking into hell, too. Just like old times.
But what really hurts Garrus is that the reason all this happened was because one of the members of his team betrayed him. Sidonus, another Turian, tipped off the other mercs and lured Garrus away so the remaining 10 could be slaughtered.
They tried to hold them off. By the time I got back, there were only 2 survivors. They didn't last long. All 10 of them dead. Because of him.
Garrus has been working to track Sidonus down, and it leads to a criminal named Fade on the Citadel. Welcome to the Citadel. We hope you enjoy yourself. As you pass through the hall ahead, note the glass partitions to our interrogation rooms to see what happens to those that C-Sec thinks might be up to something. You may wish to instruct small children to look away. For your peace of mind, you and everyone else will be required to walk past the desk of the captain of C-Sec for this ward so we can get a good look at you. If he doesn't disapprove, there's a gift shop just around the corner. Have a pleasant stay. Shepard and Garrus find Fade and his cronies.
Damn it. Quick! Shoot them! Shoot them!
Too slow.
But soon it's just them and Fade. Only it's not really Fade. I figured. Usually the enemies aren't somebody I can take out in a cutscene. And he points us to a massive warehouse full of Blue Suns mercs. That sounds more like it.
Oh, he's got a lot of mercs there.
Why are you talking like Rain Man? Aw yeah, I got a lot of mercs, definitely. Fade's a code name for Harkin, a now ex-cop that you ran into in ME1, and a member of CSEC that Garrus hated in the first place for being dirty and a disgrace. He used his knowledge of CSEC to do his disappearing work, but right now he's going to hide behind his mercs. A mistake. Garrus' tone makes it clear how much this matters to him.
You still planning to kill Sidonis when we find him?
That's the plan. It'll be quick and painless, unlike everyone he betrayed. He'll be spared the agony of a slow death. It's more than he deserves, but as long as he's dead, I'll be satisfied.
Harkin won't give him up.
Oh, what else is bad for business? A broken neck.
God, Garrus, your feet are huge. What, do you shop for shoes at the clown store? Stinky clown feet are too much, and Harkin agrees to bring Sidonis into an ambush. One bullet and...
This is what happens when you let things get personal. I need to know this is over.
Yeah, it's over. I can move on.
Our next target is a Krogan scientist named Warlord Okeer, currently stuck in a garbage world controlled by the Blue Suns. He's making them a Krogan army, but the Krogan won't follow orders. So figuring waste not, want not, they arm them and practice live fire training trying to kill them. Not the smartest plan I've ever heard, right up there with building a daycare on the lip of a volcano. Near his lab, we discover an Asari scientist that Shepard had found on Vermeer that was helping Saren study indoctrination. But she was allowed to go free, and now she's assisting in Warlord Okeer's research to help the Krogan. Shepard again lets her make a run for it.
Should have killed her. Too much knowledge without ethical boundaries.
Mordin, I brought you here because I figured your scientific knowledge might come in handy with Okeer, but if all this fighting keeps encouraging less of the do no harm and more of the do killing, I'm going to have to keep your ass on the ship from now on. Okeer's been waiting and is impressed with Shepard's reputation on Vermeer in dealing with Saren's cure for the genophage.
But before Saren can deliver his endless troops, in rides Shepard, securing victory through nuclear fire. I like that thought. It has weight.
Okeer's being sincere. He approves of Shepard's efforts because he believes in purity rather than numbers.
For every 1,000 stillborn, too many weaklings live. Every survivor is branded as precious. That's produced more cuddling than your collective human teats.
Don't listen to him, Shepard. I like your teats. They have weight. Searching for the perfect Krogan is all that matters to Okeer. He even made deals with the Collectors to create the perfect Krogan.
I gave them mini Krogan.
Well, I'm sure that won't bite us in the ass later. What could the Reapers possibly do with a bunch of Krogan and the ability to twist organic beings into the stuff of nightmares, huh? Okeer agrees to work with Shepard, but during a final confrontation with the head of the local Blue Suns, Okeer is gassed, so Okeer is dead. This leaves us with just a jar of pure Krogan, great on toast. Mordin's not too crazy about it.
No, but Krogan, genetically dangerous, socially dangerous as well, have enough enemies without adding this.
I don't agree. If there's one thing about our crew, there are never enough enemies for them. He's brought back and Shepard decides to awaken him. This goes less than swimmingly, with the Krogan, who has christened himself Grunt after Okeer's final words, plans to kill Shepard, but she suggests that the size and nature of her enemies would test Grunt's mettle, and he's excited about that.
I'll fight for you.
I'm glad you saw reason.
Grunt's outlook is fairly simple, and he spends his time reflecting on what he was taught in the tank, how to talk, how to walk, how to unscrew a Turian's head. But eventually he starts to lose his shit, and there seems no choice but to take him to the Krogan homeworld and hope that they can figure out what's wrong with him. The thing about Krogan is that they're not your typical space Vikings. Krogans aren't about fighting so much as they are about tradition. It's just that this tradition often includes fighting. Strength, to be precise. Krogan value it and seek it out, and they see struggling against death as a means to make themselves stronger. Ergnot Reeve, Rex's brother, explains that what's wrong with Grunt is that he is becoming an adult, and he needs to prove himself. Reeve likes the idea of having an heir of Okeer on his side, so says he can take the rite of passage to join his group. The green-crested guy voiced like Worf doesn't approve, but Shepard knows how to deal with that.
You dare. I like this human.
Say what you will about that Barbie hairdo, but it's solid enough to stun a Krogan in a headbutt contest. The shaman approves of this and sends them on a rite to face the hostility of the surface and survive. No problem. Shepard survived worse, right? She faced a Thresher Maw on foot. It can't be that bad.
Incoming!
Oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. Luckily, history repeats itself and Shepard brings down the Thresher Maw again. Worf tries recruiting Grunt instead, but it turns into a fight, and soon he and his people are dead.
Grunt, you are Urdnot. We now own property. Join the army and apply to serve under a battle master.
Shepard is my battle master. She has no match.
Shepard, I think he just proposed to you. Grunt's earned a lot of respect over all this and is committed to Shepard's cause.
In addition, killing the Thresher Maw has produced several breeding requests for Grunt, and one for Shepard.
It's those teats. They have weight.
Our enemies are in trouble, Shepard, and we better not run out of targets.
There's no danger of that. They're practically lining up.
Everyone gets a turn.
Mass Effect's name derives from the ability within this universe to alter an object's apparent mass using dark energy and a substance called Element Zero, or EZO for short. It can make ships lighter for planetary takeoff or create artificial gravity on starships, but one of its most notable abilities is when it occurs in living beings, manifesting in what's called biotics. Biotics can be quite powerful, and that's why our next destination is a prison ship called Purgatory, which houses a criminal biotic named Jack. Shepard's here to pay for Jack's release, but things aren't off to a good start.
You need to relinquish your weapons before we proceed.
I'll relinquish one bullet. Where do you want it?
Shepard's only got one melee move, and while it's useful, it's generally better to be armed in a galaxy that seems to surround her with death. It seems Jack's gonna fit right in.
Jack is the meanest handful of violence and hate I've ever encountered. Dangerous, crazy, and very powerful.
The Warden is naturally very proud of what he's done setting up this place here, but it seems like a pretty awful place. As a Turian, naturally a disciplined and ordered system to keep disruptive elements out of circulation is appealing to his cultural ideals, but things are taken a bit too far. For instance, this guy getting a beating, and this fellow who hates the place so much he'd gladly become Shepard's slave rather than stay here. Then again, FemShep would probably get a lot of men volunteering for that. Ow! Behave! But the only thing that makes this unattractive is the prospect of Jack.
Get yourself out. We're here for Jack.
Jack? Forget what I just said. I don't want to go nowhere with you.
Tell me more about Jack.
The worst trouble you ever saw. Mixed with some crazy and way too much biotic power.
But the Warden makes the mistake countless others have made, assuming that Shepard can be stopped with a mere army. He wants to lock her up and put her on the slave market, and while that kind of crap may fly on DeviantArt, it's not happening here. So like a hot knife through butter, our heroes cut through to where Jack is in cryo. The only way for them to do it is a way that'll wind up opening up the whole cell block. But an army of escaped prisoners sounds like a case of not my problem, so it is done.
That's Jack?
Jack draws her power from cutscenes. While in normal combat she has some usefulness. I like her squad warp ammo power, especially when you're an infiltrator. But she's a biotic goddess during cutscenes. She can take 3 giant robots solo in seconds, but with a squad she'll get knocked out against 2 during normal combat. Cutscenes must be filled with EZO or something. The prisoners are no problem, but the screws and the Warden slow things down. Luckily there's nowhere to run, so Jack's left waiting at the exit.
I'm not going anywhere with you. You're Cerberus.
Jack claims she and Cerberus have a history, but agrees to come along in exchange for access to Cerberus data files. Naturally, she and Miranda aren't going to get along.
On this ship, we follow orders.
Tell the Cerberus cheerleader to back off, Shepard. I'm here because of our deal.
But shockingly, the girl running around with no top on is kind of screwed up. As secrets are peeled away, we learn that her problem with Cerberus is because they raised her in a lab, experimenting on ways to enhance her biotic abilities, including torture. When she finally escaped, she found a hostile galaxy waiting, so she trusts no one and sees any overture by Shepard as a transparent attempt to get something out of her. Her conversations reveal the number of ways she's been used and abused since her escape. Of course, it usually ends badly for them too, since Jack isn't much of the turn the other cheek type as a turn your cheek until your head has been spun 360 degrees. Jack's digging finally reveals the location of the facility where she was raised, now abandoned. She wants to blow it up, perhaps to know that she could never be dragged back there again. Even though she demands to be brought there, on the way she's nervous as hell. one of the rare moments when she seems to actually be afraid of something, as if worried that once here she'll never be able to leave again. Inside, all the recordings and materials left behind show that the purpose of this facility was to make Jack a superbiotic warrior, with other children being experimented on to determine what to use on Jack, just in case that we forgot Cerberus were a bunch of bastards.
Sometimes I dream that I'm back in this bed being tortured. I used to tie the sheets around my wrists and try to rip them off. I want to stop coming back here.
Of course, Jack is still the centerfold for Crazy Girls Monthly, but we wouldn't have her any other way.
Piracy, theft of military craft, destruction of a space station, and vandalism.
I'm surprised you'd even mention vandalism in that bunch.
That's what the Hanar call it when you crash that space station I mentioned into one of their moons and make a new crater. They really liked that moon.